Hey finance fam, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to cover 5 financial mistakes that set me back years. No matter how successful you see somebody become, odds are they've made mistakes along the way and they probably have some very important lessons to teach. And I am no exception. I definitely have done some things backwards or incorrectly over the decades. Now, look, I think that mistakes are learning experiences that we all kind of have to take them, go through them, and learn from them. So it's all a matter of, are you taking that mistake and are you becoming a better investor or a better manager of your money? That's key. So the first mistake that I made was I basically was trading the stock market before investing in the stock market. Now, I had a little bit of investments from a 401k from working in corporate America, but I quit corporate America pretty early in my early 20s, and I was moving into the trading world of futures and stocks. So I was trying to essentially trade the markets to make money, and that was the first thing that I did before focusing on investing long term and getting, invested in either ETFs, mutual funds, or individual stocks that I was going to, hold for a really long time. And that was a mistake I made because obviously the younger you start compounding your money, the younger you start investing for the long run, that compounding is going to benefit you so much more when you start, the earlier that you start, because your money has more time to compound and grow. So you focus early on getting money invested for the long term, get that money working for you. And then once you've got that set in place and you're contributing a certain amount of money to reach your goals for the long-term investing capital bucket, then you can move into what I call the fun bucket. The trading bucket is the fun bucket. But you really don't want to do that until you've set money to be working for you for a long time, right? And then from there, whatever excess money you have that will not break you, you can take that money and you can learn how to trade with that money. I definitely think that I learned a lot being a trader first, and I was kind of I became a master of certain things like technical analysis and reading trends and just understanding the inner workings of the market at a very young age. So I think that was good, but if I could go back, I would have done it the other way around for sure. And I encourage everybody that is trying to trade for money first before getting invested for the long run to maybe rethink that strategy and get yourself compounding, and then you can move into the fun bucket. Okay, the second mistake that I made with my finances that definitely set me back was technically my husband and I invested in a housing rehab. So basically, buy a dilapidated house, you hire a contractor, they fix it up for you, you sell it for a profit, higher than what you paid for it, and including your renovations. Well, that sounds all fine and dandy, except for when you don't actually know how to do a rehab and you don't actually know what you're really doing. And so we came into this deal as investors, and we had somebody that we were partnering with to help us on the building and contracting side. And we trusted him and thought that he was a good partner for the deal. And unfortunately, we ended up on the short end of that stick, and turns out that the work that was being done on the house was very shoddy work. It ended up not being up to code. It couldn't pass inspection. It was a mess. And so even though the house on the outside maybe looked okay, which I don't think it looked okay. I think that it could have definitely been done so much better. But even though on the outside maybe it looked like, oh yeah, you could sell this for a profit, like so much stuff after paying for the renovation, so much stuff needed to still be fixed because we didn't oversee the process like we should have. So going into a rehab with an investor mindset and not necessarily thinking too much about the actual process because you're working with a contractor or somebody who maybe you trust that knows what they're doing, I suggest that even if you are the money, even if you are on the investor side of that, you have to be hands-on with something like that. You do need to care about if the contractor is doing their job, if the people that are doing the work right, if they are licensed to be able to do the work, if the right permits are happening to be able to do the work legally. Like all of these things, even though you are investing in trusting somebody to manage that process that's more experienced, that person, may slip up too. And that person may make poor mistakes too. So it's important if you're doing that type of real estate house flipping, essentially, if you're doing that, even if you're just investing and trusting somebody else, oversee the process. Like have eyes on it and ask questions and be like, hey, this doesn't really look right. Don't be afraid to really get in there. And even though maybe that's not your wheelhouse because you're not a contractor and you're more so an investor, that doesn't mean that you can't get in there and I don't want to say micromanage the process, but micromanage the process because guess what? This is your money that you're investing into this and you want to make sure that it's done right. We did not do that, unfortunately, and we lost on the deal. And obviously, this was years ago, but that money would have been nice to not lose and invest it or compound it. But we ended up not being able to sell the house for the profit that we had originally anticipated, unfortunately, because of all of this that happened with the contractors and the shoddy work and the not being able to pass inspection even after dumping a bunch of money into it. And the sucky part about the whole thing is this house was actually in such a great location for, future growth, right outside of a major city that was growing exponentially. I mean, this house probably if we would have even just demoed the house and kept the lot probably would have been a great asset. But, we had holding costs. We did not want to get any deeper into this than we already were. And sometimes when an asset or when an investment is causing you a bunch of stress and it's causing you a bunch of money and anxiety, and, sometimes it's best to just cut your losses and move on. So that is definitely something that sucked. They say real estate is tough if you don't really know what you're doing, and it's true. Like you've got to definitely learn your lessons. It's not going to be just go in easy, know everything when it comes to real estate. It's trial by fire. But I know a lot of people rehab homes very successfully. Lesson learned. So the third mistake that I've made is I didn't take advantage of a Roth IRA in my lower earning years. So a Roth IRA is where you pay taxes on the money that's contributed, but that money gets to grow and that growth gets to get pulled out in retirement tax free. So a lot of people are very attracted to these accounts, especially if they think that tax rates in the future are going to go up. Now, when you are in lower income earning years, Roth accounts are generally a better choice because you're locking in a low tax rate today in return for tax-free growth later. So that can be a very attractive proposition for a lot of people. When you start to earn more money, that's when the Roth versus traditional conversation becomes more you need more analysis to decide what's going to be the best decision for you. And now I lean more into traditional accounts, traditional, 401k, traditional IRA, things like that versus Roth, just because being in higher tax bracket, that is why I would lean into that because I want that tax deduction if I can get it. With lower income years, I had years in corporate America and before that where I would have definitely benefited from utilizing a Roth, and that money could have been invested compounding really early in my life, especially high growth assets like stocks, because if when you're younger you're going to be invested more in stocks. So it would have really benefited me to do that at a young age. But unfortunately, I didn't quite have the knowledge at the time. And I wasn't able to take advantage of that because nobody was teaching me this strategy, this skill set of being able to make that decision effectively. So that definitely was something that, could have been nice to do a bit differently. The fourth mistake that I made was not buying real estate during the 2008 financial crisis. Granted, everybody, a lot of people, most people probably made this same mistake. But The reason that I'm bringing this one up is because once you go through multiple bear markets in different asset classes, whether it's a bear market in stocks, whether it's a bear market in real estate, whether that's, residential or commercial real estate, whatever the case may be, once you really learn how the market cycles work, you are going to be more able to spot it and pounce on it. So now, looking back, I'm like, dang it, I didn't buy real estate when it was really cheap and everybody was foreclosing. I didn't have the foresight to see that this was such a huge opportunity for investors. Investors that went in, saw the opportunity, started buying foreclosures and just, scooping up properties, they really have done quite well because things did get so dire and prices were so depressed in real estate. But if I ever saw it again, I would definitely want to be taking advantage of buying up real assets, meaning, hard assets that you can actually go touch, feel, not stock shares, but actual real estate where you can go knock on a door. I would love to be able to pick up real assets in a crisis like that if it ever happened again. I'm not wishing for a crisis like that. I hope that that does not happen again because I do have real estate and I don't want to see it crash a bunch. It's all about just being able to be nimble and make moves during the right times. And that was definitely a time that I wish that I had the ability to take advantage of when it came. Do I wish I had more real estate? Do I wish I had more land? Yes, I wish I would have bought more land. The fifth financial mistake that I made was before I became a certified financial planner, a trader, investor in the markets, and learned all about this stuff. Before all of that, okay, I was just a regular person working in corporate America, trying to climb the ladder, and I had money in IRAs that were in cash and not invested. It is the worst. I feel for the cash that is sitting in an IRA right now, not invested in the markets, because their owner of the cash just doesn't know. They don't know that depositing money into an IRA doesn't necessarily mean that it's automatically going to be invested for you. You very likely are also going to have to make a transaction and invest that money in whatever ETF, mutual fund, stock that you want to be invested in. So that definitely set me back because it was definitely years that have gone by. And then I was realizing as I was learning more about the markets, as I was learning about investing in financial planning, that this needs to be done. We need to get this money working, right? It wasn't actually in anything. And so I was very grateful that my education came and I learned this stuff when I did. It probably didn't set me back as much as some of the other mistakes, but it definitely contributed to the setback along the way. I'm about to pour one out for all the IRAs that have cash sitting uninvested. All right, finance fam, these are 5 financial mistakes that I have made in my lifetime. Thank goodness I have learned my lessons. Thank goodness I am on the right path and I got the education that I needed to do better going forward and recognize market cycles and take advantage of opportunities when I need to. So that is something that I am eternally grateful for. Always keep learning and always use your mistakes to make you a better investor going forward. Okay. Don't let them bring you down. Don't let them keep you down. Let them be the lesson that you needed to become stronger and emerge better. All right. Please like this video, smash the like button, punch the like button. I mean, whatever you got to do to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you're not subscribed, the content is going to keep flowing and I'm hoping to make you a finance whiz. I'll see you guys in the next video.